What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. Okay, I wanted to talk about just kind of the timeline that I'm seeing for Splinterlands over the next, we'll call it 3, maybe even 6 months if I can get out that far. But I actually, never mind, not 3 to 6 months. I'm really looking at the next 3 months, and what I'm trying to get across here. I've spoken about this on live streams briefly, but I've actually had a better chance to flesh it out with private conversations, whether it's through DMs or just talking with people about the game. And, I've been saying that I do believe over the next couple of weeks here through the end of the year, there's going to be a couple of things dropped. For example, we may get Land 0.5. We will hopefully get Rooney. We'll hopefully get... I don't know what else. What else besides those two? Those are probably the top two that we're hoping for, at least right now. But aside from that, I think development is going to be slow. We're heading into the holidays. The team is already at half staff, literally half staff, just due to the layoffs in November. And Matt has talked about wanting to take some time to focus on updating the roadmap, getting some solid ideas out for when things can be released, what the new timeframes are, and really just mapping out, I believe, what 2023 is going to look like when they go on their break, right, roughly for the last 2 weeks of the year, which coincide with the holidays, obviously. So the way that I'm seeing it is I want to give the team, and I'm saying this for myself, I'm saying it for you guys, just to... Again, all of it is arbitrary, right? So let's just put that put that on the table right off the bat. But I want to give the team 6 weeks, starting in the new year, because I think where they are at right now is they are trying to get some form of land 0.5 or phase 0.5 out, along with Rooney and maybe a couple of other things before the end of the year. But there's still a lot of major things that we are waiting for. I mean, obviously the rest of land would be great. But the way that we're seeing this, we're going to go over the next 4 weeks into the holidays. I would say that I'm hoping that the team has a good brainstorm session, a good planning session, and that when they come back, they're able to hit the ground running. But at that point, they're hitting the ground running and kind of starting, not from scratch, but with, it's not like stuff is going to start dropping in January, right? I guess that's what I'm trying to get at here. Just to give myself a timeline on when to expect things in the future, and hopefully to give you guys a similar timeline and get your perspective on where you think things may go or may come. So once they get back in January, this is where I'm talking about the 6 weeks, right? For them to really start delivering things. So the reason for that 6 weeks, there's a couple of things. Well, one, 6 weeks, I'll admit, is somewhat arbitrary, but the idea is that there's a couple things that they want to release. The first, and I think the most important, is probably going to be Land Phase 1, right? The rest of what they wanted to do with Land. So I'm hopeful that if they were shooting for the end of this year and they maybe just missed it by a little bit, and then obviously with all the craziness that happened at the end of the year, that they can accomplish that, the rest of Land Phase 1, by early next year. There was also a target to get land, but validators out as well by the end of the year. But we're not there yet. We haven't really heard much except for the fact that it's getting pushed to 2023. I would be surprised if they want to push this out much further, but again, within the first 6 weeks, I would hope that we get some kind of update within the first 6 weeks. And I'm not just talking about okay, they're going to give us the roadmap and that'll tell us Q1, Q2, Q3. I would hope that we'd get something with validators. I mean, governance has gone live, and I think governance has been great so far. The community has been able to voice their opinion, and I think the team has done a great job of bringing things to the community that we are allowed to give direct feedback on. So land, validators. And I guess the reason that I'm looking at February is because there's a couple of other projects that they're working on, namely Tower Defense and Genesis League Goals. And I know Genesis League Goals isn't necessarily Splinterlands focused, but it is coming from the same team, and I think there's going to be a lot of crossover with the player base, at least initially. Now, the Genesis League Goals one is actually easy to fit in that time frame because I believe the preseason starts in January for Major League Soccer. and I think the season starts either in mid to late February or March by the latest. So my thought process would be, we're going to get pack staking soon, is what it sounds like, potentially even this week, or we're going to get an announcement this week. We will get some kind of liquidity pools and all the other DeFi elements that they want, GLUSD from GLX burning. We're probably going to get all that, if not by the end of the year, then probably early next year. But the game itself, I would assume they want it to come out with the actual, launch of the season. And so even if they don't hit the exact launch of the season or the exact start of the season, I would assume that they'd want to get it out, sooner rather than later. I don't think that this is going to be a Q3 release for Major League Soccer, for a Major League Soccer game when that's like halfway through the season. And we get, at that point, that's, July, you're already kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because if the team is trying to release a new pack set every season, right, with not new players, but updated stats based on how the players did in the previous season, well, that's going to be a tough one, right? Like, I mean, you're only going to have like 3 months of playing the game, and then you need to start working on the next one. I feel like players will feel a little cheated. So I do expect them to hit their Q1 estimate, right? At least what they've said initially. And I think getting it out there within, or at least getting some kind of announcement or some kind of launch within the first 6 weeks of the year would be huge and would be awesome. Tower defense on the other side, I'm not sure where things are at. That's obviously being developed on or by Double Coconut, so it's not necessarily, we don't really know. They've been giving us the dev diaries, which is great, but that does not really give us an idea of like when there will actually be a playable game. Now, the initial estimate was for there to be a beta given out by the end of the year for those who bought 500 packs or more. I did not buy 500 packs or more, but I haven't heard anything about this beta, and I'm sure as soon as there's details, people will be talking about it everywhere, right? Because it's a game that I'm actually really excited for, and I'm sure many people in the community are, just to have something else within the Splinterlands ecosystem that is not something else in the Splinterlands ecosystem that is a completely different game experience overall. And I'm a fan of tower defense as it is. So those things in general, I think we can expect something, maybe not all of them, but within the first 6 weeks of the year. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Now, there was also talk of, guilds getting a little makeover. There was talk of alliances. There's talk of like tournaments getting upgraded or updated. I don't know if that's going to happen in the first 6 weeks of the year, but whether, if it does, it's great. If it doesn't, that's fine. Like I said, I've given kind of the things that I think should be hit within the first 6 weeks of the year. So what I'm trying to tell folks, and this is me just telling myself, right? I'm just thinking these thoughts out loud. I'm not telling you what to do or what to think or what to say. I'm just giving you something to think about. And so for me, this is still a relatively difficult time. I mean, it's fun. I love playing the game, and obviously hanging with the community is fun, but there's definitely a lot of salt out there. There's a lot of people who are frustrated, and rightfully so. I want to validate people's perspectives on this, because it has been frustrating to for many folks who've been in the game, whether you've been in the game for a while or you just joined this past couple of months. But I would say give it 10 weeks. And that the reason I'm saying 10 weeks is because that's where we're at from now, right? So you got to do another 4 weeks to the end of the month for December. Check out, go enjoy the holidays, get one of the Archmage bots or whatever the case is. Use Splintermate or the new Xbot service. I'm not endorsing it because I haven't used it yet or I haven't tested it. And so all I'm saying is you can continue to earn. You can rent out your cards. You can do whatever you want to do, and you'll at least be progressing in the game. And speaking of progressing in the game, one thing I forgot to mention was the Soulbound reward cards. I haven't heard anything on that, but if we don't get that by the end of the year, which I know Matt is shooting for, I would expect that within the first 6 weeks as well. But when we get to January, like I said, I think the team is going to be jumping, with both feet in, but they won't be done. I don't think we're going to be getting announcements for launches and releases. I think what will happen in the first town hall that we get in 2023 will probably give us an updated roadmap and new timelines. And it's going to be tough, and people are going to be frustrated because there's going to be delays that, as the team was going through their planning session, they're going to reprioritize certain things. But those 4, and then I added the 5th thing on the Soulbound reward cards, those are the 5 things that I would hope, maybe not all, but I would hope that we could get most of those things but within the first 6 weeks of the year. So I'm telling you, if you guys are struggling right now, it's okay to check out. It's okay to focus on other games. It's okay to go spend time with your family and do something else. Enjoy the holidays, right? Like, I think that this is going to be an important time. It's going to be a tricky time. I mean, if there is a Santa rally within the markets overall, that could make things fun, and we get to see maybe some of the flywheel effect go in if DEC reaches its peg. But I'm still bearish on the overall global macro economy. So unless that flips, either in December or January, and there's an immediate reaction, I think things will still be relatively slow and boring, and maybe even depressing in markets overall. But that's what I'm trying to do. So that's all I'm saying is, obviously I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be making content. I'm still going to be live streaming, several times a week. I'm not leaving, but I am emotionally preparing myself, right? Emotionally preparing myself to give like a 10-week grind here, 2.5 months to the middle of February. So whatever it is you have to do to distract yourself, whatever it is you need to focus on in game or not in game, that's kind of where I see things. And so I would love to do actually a follow-up video in like mid-February to see how much of this I got right, how much I got wrong. But the content on this channel comes out really regularly enough. So I'll probably end up doing that once we get some kind of roadmap. But that's at least where my mindset is right now, looking over the next, we'll call it 3 months, right? Because 10 weeks or 3 months would be the end of February. But I would really hope that we could get some awesome stuff, all the things that the team is trying to deliver by mid-February. So, like I said, giving them 6 weeks, arbitrary number, but that's where I'm at. That's what I'm thinking. I would love to hear your thoughts though, guys. How are you doing? First of all, let me try to turn the tables here and actually engage with you and ask, how are you doing? I know a lot of people are frustrated, and I welcome those comments as long as they're respectful and it's not just like cursing out the team, right? Or cursing out people on the channel. You guys can give me as much crap as you want, but don't take it out on other people on the channel, because I will not stand for that. But how are you guys doing? How are you feeling? What is your game plan? Are you going to check out for the holidays? Are you not? Or like how are you feeling about everything? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game.